Estamos aquí en el monumento de Haymarket, en Chicago, en donde inició la gesta de aquellos próceres que en 1886 iniciaron un paro de labores en virtud de la exigencia de una jornada máxima y efectiva de 8 horas de trabajo. Vamos a darle seguimiento a esta importante reunión obrera internacional.
Sí, no, dígale que no se preocupe, que está bien.
Oh, I was so sad.
After
well, you know, they've been doing one of the people that had contracts of the money to buy the auditorium. Well, I'm not sure if it was or not. It was just somebody with whether or not it was that's what
okay. Walmart protest and more there. Thank you, Bucky. Bucky Halter, thank you. Hi, brothers and sisters. Happy May Day! Yeah! You know, it all started here 133 years ago, right? 133 years. You feel the history that happened here. So, we had a great lineup here. We got some visitors from Mexico, from Ireland, and from the Philippines. You know, throughout the world, they celebrate May Day. But you know what? It all started here at the Haymarket. It started with workers here saying enough is enough. You know, we're sick and tired. Of their view. So it all started here. I'm going to introduce Larry Spivak to give a little bit of history of Haymarket. All right. Should I read it? Meet you on the sidewalk. Thank you. All right. Solidarity, everyone. Solidarity! All around the world, this holiday is celebrated because of the struggle in Chicago in 1886. May 4th, 1886. You all remember? Yes. We remember every day, don't we? Not just a fight for the 8-hour day, the right to peaceably assemble, the right to a better life, the right to free speech. But probably more important than all of that, it became a struggle because of those events, the right to have and share ideas that are not always consistent with what the state or the political elite believe it should be. 4 men were hanged, 1 died in prison, 2 got life sentences, and 1 got 15 years because the state's attorney said, convict these men for their ideas to keep our society safe. Union members, workers all around the world keep our society safe because we can be safe when we have fair pay, fair working conditions, and a voice on the job.
Right.
Yeah. The idea of this monument came up in 1969 when people like Les O'Rear and Studs Terkel and Bill Edelman, Ed Sedlowski, and many others got together and said, let's remember the Haymarket and form the Haymarket Workers Memorial Committee. In 1971, the statue in Forest Park was dedicated to the Illinois Labor History Society, and we take care of it. In 2004, after 34 years, a monument was finally brought to the place where the original struggle took place. And we said, let us have this be a place of international labor representation, dedication, and honor. And every year, we have international labor organizations come and dedicate a plaque, and this monument is almost all surrounded now by plaques. This year, we will be hearing from two new plaque dedicators from Ireland and Mexico. Mexico's second plaque. And we have a guest from the Philippines, who I'm going to introduce first because they dedicated a plaque last year, but this man has come all this way for this event. I would first like to introduce Ed Cobuelo, chairman of the Manila chapter of the Kilswang Mayo Uno, the May 1st movement, KMU, the largest and most militant labor union in the Philippines. Ed, will you come and say a few words?
Kilswang Mayo Uno, May 1st movement in the Philippines, extend our warm greetings of solidarity to our brothers and sisters in the labor movement in Chicago, in the U.S., and around the world. On this day, the 1st of May, Filipino workers launched mass actions in many major cities in the Philippines. Today, we give the highest salute and recognition to all martyred workers of the world who sacrificed their lives for the worldwide struggle against capitalist exploitation and liberty from oppression. During the 1980s, at the height of Marcos dictatorship in the Philippines, the Filipino workers banded ourselves and formed Kilswang Mayo Uno, the May 1st movement, drawing inspiration from the bravery and heroism of the striking workers in Chicago who were massacred in 1886. KMU was created to advance a genuine militant, patriotic, and anti-imperialist trade unionism with a socialist perspective. Today, in behalf of KMU, I pay tribute to the Filipino and Mexican agricultural workers who, along with Filipino-American Larry It Leong and American and Mexican-American Cesar Chavez, to form a strong labor movement of agricultural workers in the U.S. I also would like to pay tribute to Filipino-Americans Silme Domingo and Jean Viernes, leaders of ILWU Local 73, who were murdered by hitmen of the dictator Marcos. We were invited to come here in the U.S. by the Malaya movement to raise awareness on the grave human rights situation in the Philippines. Labor leaders fighting for workers' rights as jailed for trump-up cases, and many were killed or summarily executed under the Duterte regime. In the speaking tour, we were able to lobby and visit offices of American senators and congressmen. We were able to speak with workers at the West Coast, Midwest, and the East Coast, among them the U.S. Postal Workers, the International Longshore and Workers Union, SEIU, APALA, Teachers Union, Nurses Union, AT&T workers, and the local councils of AFL-CIO in Minnesota and Milwaukee. The San Francisco Labor Council passed a resolution expressing strong support to end U.S. military funding in the Philippines, and we are hoping to get more resolution of support. Lastly, we thank the Illinois Labor Historical Society for dedicating a KMU plaque at the Haymarket Square. I treasure this moment to be able to stand before you at Haymarket and to be able to celebrate with you International Workers' Day. Mabuhay! Long live International Solidarity! Workers of the world unite!
And from around the world they come to dedicate a plaque because this is the birthplace of the international labor movement. From Ireland, Teresa Hennick is a divisional organizer for the Services Industrial Professional Technical Union, the largest union in Ireland.
Happy May Day, brothers and sisters! On International Workers' Day, which is a day of protest, camaraderie and celebration, I bring to all of you here a message of solidarity from the Irish trade union movement, and particularly from the members of my union, Ireland's largest trade union, SIPTU. SIPTU is extremely honoured to be invited to make a plaque dedication here at the Haymarket Memorial. This memorial is seen by us as a powerful symbol of protest and reminds us all of the fundamental principles of freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, organising workers, justice, and the right of every human being to pursue an equitable and prosperous life. It also reminds us of the battles and sacrifices those who walked before us made to gain those principles, and how we, who now carry that torch, must fight to protect these principles from the onslaught of greed, consumerism, populism, sexism and racism that workers across the world face every day. This generation and generations to come are paying a very heavy price for the greed of a chosen few at the top, all brought about by political systems throughout the world that have a lifetime regulation and hero worship of those in the golden circle who are perceived as having the Midas touch, but in reality have no vision, no concept of what a society should be, and worse still, despise the value of solidarity and trade unionism. SIPTU, my union, was established in 1990 with the merger of Ireland's two largest unions, the ITGWU, which was established in 1909, and the Federated Workers' Union of Ireland, established in 1924. Both unions were founded by Big Jim Larkin. Jim Larkin, who has strong links to the American labor history, the labor history movement. You would have heard of Jim, who was imprisoned in Sing Sing for many years. He was connected with Mother Jones, as was James Connolly. Larkin and James Connolly are colossal figures in the Irish trade union movement, and particularly in our union, SIPTU. And we have strong links to the American labour unions, and we maintain them to this day. We hold on in my union to the principles of solidarity, equality, fairness and justice, both of our founders espoused 100 years ago. SIPTU remains committed to Larkin's dictum that an injury to one is a concern of all, and pursuing the twin objectives of fairness at work and justice in society. The plaque that SIPTU is dedicating here today contains an image of our founder, Jim Larkin. The image is of a statue of Larkin that stands in the main street in Dublin, the capital city of Ireland, and it is commemoration to the 1913 lockout in Ireland, where the Dublin business classes starved the Dublin workers into submission. And the quote here is a quote, it's an extract on that memorial statue, and it's an extract that is in French, Irish and English. Irish, because you might find that a bit weird, but I'll do it in English. It is from a speech Larkin gave in the 1913 lockout. It is not an original Larkin slogan. It appeared years earlier in the Irish Socialist Republican Party's paper, The Workers' Republic, but it is the one slogan that is most associated with Larkin and the 1913 lockout in Ireland. And this is what it says. It says, the great appear great because we are on our knees. Let us rise. Comrades, let us rise.
Before I introduce our last guest, I want to thank the Chicago Federation of Labor for immediately in 2005 saying they would be a partner in this event, and it has taken a leadership role. The idea for some of us that organized labor would say May Day is our holiday at one point in time many decades ago seemed unreal, but now it's real. And our president of the Chicago Federation, Bob Ryder, who couldn't be here today, has the esteemed Don Villar emceeing this event, and I'm so happy that the Chicago Federation of Labor continues to help us out. I would now like to bring up Herlindo Robles, Secretary General of Casa del Obrero Mundial.
Good afternoon, friends, queridos compañeros y compañeras.
Good afternoon, brothers and sisters.
Seamos todos bienvenidos a este importante evento organizado por la Illinois Labor History Society, presidida por nuestro amigo Larry Spivak, a quien pido un aplauso fraterno para el compañero por todo este trabajo que ha venido realizando en favor del movimiento obrero.
Good afternoon, and may we all welcome. You're all welcome at this important event, organized by the Illinois Labor History Society, presided by Larry Spivak, and in the participation of the Illinois Federation. Hablar en my loud. Don't make me use my teacher. Can you hear me now? No. Technical difficulties. How about now? Okay. All right. We're not going to be stopped. We're not going to be stopped. We're going to give a very good translation. So first of all, we're going to begin again by thanking everyone for being here, and we're going to recognize this important event organized by the Illinois Labor History Society, presided by Larry Spivak, with the participation of the Federation of Labor that's present here and the Secretary Treasurer, Don Villar.
Hoy nos encontramos presentes en el lugar conmemorativo en que dio inicio el movimiento obrero organizado de los tiempos modernos.
We are here gathered in the place that started it all, here in the Haymarket Square, the place that we all recognize that started the labor movement in Chicago.
Lugar donde ocurrió la terrible matanza de trabajadores que luchaban por una jornada máxima y efectiva de 8 horas de trabajo.
The place where there were terrible massacre of laborers that were fighting for a decent labor work hour of 8 hours a day.
En aquellos años, compañeros, fue promulgada la ley Ingersoll por el entonces presidente de los Estados Unidos, André Johnson.
In those days, in 1868, the law Ingersoll was promulgated by the then President of the United States, Andrew Johnson.
Sin embargo, esa ley no fue bien recibida ni aplicada por los capitalistas de ese tiempo.
This law was not well received and applied to the capitalists of those days.
la reducción de la jornada máxima y efectiva de 8 horas, al no ser bienvenida, los sindicatos y organizaciones de trabajadores organizados convocaron para el día 1 de mayo de 1886 un paro de labores.
The decrease in the labor hours was not well received. And for that reason, the workers came together on the first day of May of 1866 to declare a work stoppage.
En ese tiempo, la ciudad con peores condiciones de trabajo era la ciudad de Chicago, por lo cual 200,000 trabajadores hicieron un paro de labores.
In those days, the city with the worst aggressions and working conditions was this city of Chicago, where more than 200,000 laborers created a movement to stop the work.
Y otros 200,000 trabajadores, con la simple amenaza del paro de labores, obtuvieron el beneficio de una jornada máxima de 8 horas de trabajo.
And another 200,000 just by threatening to stop working. Those days they achieved a work day of 8 hours.
Fue así. Fue así que el paro se prolongó los días 2 y 3 de mayo, estando el compañero August Spies en la tribuna, salieron del centro de trabajo esquiroles.
And that is how the strike lasted from May 2 days, May the 2nd and the 3rd, when our brother August Spies was in court, and they all came out on that day.
Que fueron respaldados por una compañía de policías y sin dar aviso iniciaron los disparos, matando ahí mismo a 6 trabajadores y ocasionando decenas de heridos.
And at that time, that is when the police, without any notice, came out and just started shooting and killing our brothers and sisters in that day. And 6 of our brothers and sisters, laborers, were injured and others were killed.
Es por ello que en 1904, la Segunda Internacional reunida en Ámsterdam pidió a todos los partidos, sindicatos y organizaciones socialdemócratas luchar enérgicamente el día 1 de mayo para lograr el establecimiento legal de la jornada máxima y efectiva de 8 horas de trabajo.
And that is why and how in 1904 the international meeting in Amsterdam created and forced to bring together the union brothers and sisters, the unions, the organizations of the Social Democrats to get energized and start to declare May 1st as the day and place to get an 8-hour workday.
Fue así que en ese congreso se estableció a nivel mundial que todas las organizaciones festejaran el día festivo oficial en honor a la clase obrera, lo cual se ha logrado paulatinamente en todos los países del mundo.
And that is how, in that Congress, the organizations came together, international organization, to recognize May 1st as the International Day of our labor movement.
Fue así que en 1913, el día 1 de mayo, en México se celebró por primera vez la marcha del 1 de mayo para exigir la jornada máxima y efectiva de 8 horas, pero sobre todo para celebrar y conmemorar el martirio que estos próceres hicieron por el movimiento obrero organizado del mundo.
And that is how May 1st of Mexico, for the first time they came out to fight for and recognize the labor movement for all our brothers and sisters in the labor movement in Mexico, which was the first time they gathered this recognition. Let's recognize that, brothers and sisters.
Woo-hoo! Aquellos obreros de México que marcharon el día 1 de mayo de 1912, al año siguiente se convirtieron en los gloriosos batallones rojos de México que lucharon por la Revolución Mexicana y que dio origen a la primera Constitución Social de México.
I'll try that one. And that is how the first valiant laborers of Mexico came out to fight for, and the martyrs actually of the movement came together, recognized as the Red Squadron, and their movement began the march for the Red Squadron in Mexico.
El movimiento obrero organizado en los Estados Unidos, desde sus inicios, fue liderado por don Samuel Gompers, amigo del prócer del movimiento obrero en México, Ricardo Flores Magón.
And that is how at that time the leader of the labor movement, Samuel Gumper, who was a friend of the labor movement leader in Mexico, Ricardo Flores Magón, they worked together and to commemorate May 1st in 1913.
Estos dos hombres próceres del movimiento obrero tuvieron una idea, una visión, la creación de un movimiento obrero a nivel continental, la creación de la Pan American Federation of Labor para unir como hermanos a todos los obreros del continente.
Let that sink in a little bit what we're talking about here. And that is how these two great men came together with the vision to create an organized worldwide movement of laborers known as the el movimiento obrero organizado en el continente. That's what they did to create the vision to bring all our labor brothers and sisters to get together in an organized movement.
Hoy toca a los actuales liderazgos que hagamos realidad los sueños de estos dos iniciadores del movimiento obrero en los Estados Unidos y México. Y yo propongo, compañeros, que luchemos por establecer la Pan American Federation of Labor en favor de todos los trabajadores del continente.
And that is how it is up to us to continue this movement and make it a reality of the Pan-American forces in defense of the labor movement. It is up to us to continue with their vision.
Les voy a pedir a todos los presentes un homenaje.
I'm going to ask all of you to take a moment to recognize and honor the following.
A los 8 héroes del movimiento obrero, aquellos 8 iniciadores a los cuales vamos a dar su nombre uno a uno, y yo les pido que cuando terminemos de decir cada nombre, digamos presente para recordar a nuestros héroes obreros.
I ask of you, we're going to recognize the first 8 strong brothers and sisters in this movement. After each name, you say present, because we believe they are here with us.
August Vincent Theodore Spice.
Present.
Albert Pearson.
Present.
Adolf Fischer.
Present.
George Engel.
Present.
Luis Link.
Present.
Michel Schwab.
Present.
Oscar Nib.
Present.
Samuel Fildan.
Present.
Que viva don Samuel Gompers. Que viva la Federation of Labor de América.
¡Que viva!
Sí se puede, 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 sí se puede.
Voy a pedir que pase porque le vamos a entregar la presea primer centenario de la Casa del Obrero Mundial por todo el trabajo que ha hecho en favor del movimiento obrero en México.
Turn this into you. It's a little recognition of all your great work for our labor brothers and sisters in the movement.
Yeah!
Le voy a pedir al compañero Don Villar que se sirva a hacerme el honor de que de sus manos le imponga la presea primer centenario de la Casa del Obrero Mundial al compañero Larry Spivak.
Present it to him.
Here you go, Larry.
All right! There you go, Don.
Muchas gracias. Felicidades a todos los compañeros y vamos por la lucha. ¡Que viva el movimiento obrero organizado del mundo! ¡Que viva!
¡Que viva!
You know, we have a lot of labor fights going on in the city. Right now, our brothers and sisters at the charter schools and at IFT 1708, they're on the picket line fighting for something better. You know? And that is the history of the Chicago labor movement, right? We fight.
Don't give up.
We don't give up. And I mean, in this crowd, we have our brothers and sisters from the building trades, the service sector, public sector, education, manufacturing, industry, broadcast, you know, print section, transit. So you guys fight each and every day. And you know, in the past year, even before these fights that are going on right now, we've had some tough fights. You know, I want to recognize an ongoing fight at the Cambria Hotel. Our brothers and sisters that unite here. Maria, you have a second?
Sí se puede, señora.
Sí se puede. Buenas tardes. Me llamo María Barragán.
Acérquese al micrófono.
Y llevo 10 años trabajando de recamarera en el Hotel Cambria.
Good afternoon, my name is Maria Barragan. I've been working as a housekeeper at the Cambria Hotel for 10 years.
En pocos días van a ser 8 meses que estamos en huelga en el Cambria.
In a few days, it will be 8 months that we've been on strike at the Cambria Hotel.
El hotel quiere aumentarnos 2 cuartos por día, pero no se preocupen, no van a poder hacerlo.
The hotel wants to increase our workload by 2 rooms per shift, but don't worry, we're not going to let them do it.
Seguiremos en la huelga el tiempo que haga falta para ganar un contrato justo.
We're going to stay on strike as long as it takes to win a fair contract.
Estoy muy orgullosa de ser parte del movimiento de trabajadores en Chicago.
I'm so proud to be a part of the labor movement in Chicago.
El año pasado ganamos la huelga en 25 hoteles gracias al apoyo de todos los trabajadores y las uniones de Chicago.
Last year, we won strikes at 25 hotels thanks to the support of workers all over the city and unions.
Oh, yeah!
Y con el respaldo de ustedes, ganaremos en mi hotel. ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede!
¡Sí se puede!
Gracias.
And with all your support, we're going to win the strike at the Cambria too. ¡Sí se puede!
¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede!
Thank you, Maria. The other strike, we got to recognize something that just ended recently. Our brothers and sisters at the CSO.
All right! Give me some music!
Okay, hey, thank you all for coming out and supporting the Chicago Symphony Orchestra musicians. I also want to thank all of you that came out to support our lyric opera musicians in the fall. If it wasn't the support of labor, we probably wouldn't have been able to get the deal that we got. Labor stood behind us 100%. They were out there walking with our